25 years old and my investment portfolio is worth just over $215,000. I don't come from money and I did not get lucky with Dogecoin or GameStop, unfortunately. This is the result of consistent investing, risk-taking, and learning from my mistakes. In this video, I'm gonna break down exactly where my money is, from Bitcoin to my Roth IRA to cash, all of it, and talk about what I shouldn't have done in the past and why I'm building my portfolio this way now. First off, why am I sharing this? Honestly, I'm Asian. I love talking about money and finances, and I love watching this type of content, especially when I was broke and I had no money. I wanted to learn about the power of investing, so I would really get inspired by this content. And I'm just gonna keep it transparent with you guys. I'm gonna tell you, what I'm doing, the mistakes I made, how much money I lost in the past. And this is really just the type of stuff that I like to talk about. This isn't about flexing either. I know people that are doing way better than me at my age, and I know people that have less money, but that's really not what this is about. It's just the strategy, the game. I love the game of investing. It's like a video game to me. It's fun. It's something that we're not taught in school, but I think we should. So it's not about where you're at in the journey. It's really just about the game of investing. Let's talk about the big picture now. Where is my money at? Let's start off with the smallest amount. So the smallest amount are my individual stocks outside of a Roth IRA. So most of that is in Robinhood for me. I know a lot of people don't like Robinhood, but honestly, I love Robinhood. I like the display, the layout, it's easy to use. The way it's built, like that slot machine setup with like the fancy lights and stuff and the confetti falling, I'm not gonna lie, I love that. I mean, I'm a young dude, I think it's cool. I would rather use that than like, I don't know, TD Ameritrade or something boring. I like Robinhood, but yeah, 1.6% of my money is in Robinhood, so not much, as you can see. My next smallest amount is altcoins. If you don't know what an altcoin is, basically an altcoin is anything that's not Bitcoin, cryptocurrency wise, and that's 3% of my money. So I hold Solana, I hold a little bit of, no, I don't hold any Ethereum anymore actually. Mainly just Solana, a couple meme coins that have done well. The only two that have actually made me any money, I'm still holding because I actually kind of believe in those projects long term. I'll talk about those in another day. And then I also hold some Avalanche, which is getting crushed right now. Actually, all my altcoins are getting crushed. That percentage probably would have been higher. Just full transparency, I probably put maybe 15 grand in altcoins over the past year and a half. And that, let's say 15 grand has turned into about 9 to 10 grand. So I'm down a lot in altcoins. I don't like the altcoin game. Honestly, it's not for me. I would much rather just invest in stocks, but yeah, altcoins for me is about 3%. My next smallest amount is cash. I have a small cash holding, which is, it's mainly just there because I'm waiting for some big pullbacks. Right now, the market's pretty green, and I want some big pullbacks to go shopping. I want some red days, but right now we don't have a lot of red days, so I am holding a little bit of cash, but usually I never have much cash. I'm kind of always investing. And cash is 4.6% of my holdings. After that, we have my Roth IRA. Big jump now. Roth IRA is 33% of my money is in my Roth. So basically, the trend you're gonna realize is most of my money is in Bitcoin or my Roth IRA. I have little small holdings elsewhere, but it's mainly my Roth and my Bitcoin. And inside my Roth, I have a lot of different stuff. I have Robinhood, which has done very well. We were just talking about it. Robinhood stock has crushed it for me. Since November, I think I'm up 150%. So if you don't know percentages, basically I've more than doubled my money. I have a lot of strategy as well. Hasn't done the best. I mean, I'm up, but I think I put 32 grand into strategy and I'm probably up like 2 grand over the course of maybe 7 months. So it's been a while. Not doing as well as I thought it would, but I definitely believe in it long term. So I'm not gonna sell any, at least in the meantime. What else do I own? I own some Tesla. I own some AMD. Yeah, those are like my main holdings right now. I also have some, I also own HIMS. And those are my main holdings right there in my Roth. I have a couple small holdings, but it's like 500 bucks. Not even worth saying. So that's my Roth. That is my Roth right there. 33% of my net worth is in my Roth. The last 58% of my money is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is what I believe in long term. Through and through, that is what I'm most bullish on. It is the one thing that I'll never sell. I mean, I I am like a Bitcoin maxi in the crypto space. That's why I really don't mess with any other cryptos. I'm kind of all Bitcoin. And I'll talk a little bit more about why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin, but 58% of my net worth is in Bitcoin. So starting off with El Jefe of my portfolio, Bitcoin. Why do I own so much Bitcoin? You're probably wondering. Bitcoin for me is not just an investment. I'm gonna sound kind of cultish right here, but Bitcoin is the answer, I think. I think Bitcoin is gonna be the new currency of the world in 10 to 20 years. And I strongly believe that the US dollar is dying and Bitcoin is our answer. It's not only us Americans' answers, but it's the answer around the world. I mean, look at places like El Salvador, where their currency was complete garbage, and now they're a thriving country, and a big part of that is because of Bitcoin. I think a lot of other countries are gonna follow that. I also look at companies like Strategy, GameStop, Tesla, all these names putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets. That combined with the countries buying Bitcoin, even not only third world countries, countries like the US, China, Russia are buying Bitcoin, Saudi Arabia, like a lot of big names are buying Bitcoin now. So there's no way that Bitcoin does not see at least a 10x from here, in my opinion. So that's why I have so much money in Bitcoin. I view it as digital gold. I'm very bullish on gold as well, but all the cons of gold, Bitcoin answers, if that makes sense. It's very hard to move physical gold. It's hard to authenticate it to see, is this a fake batch of gold? And Bitcoin answers all those problems. There are, of course, cons to Bitcoin. I mean, it can be hard to understand how to store it correctly so you don't lose it. But once you figure that out, and you could, depending how tech savvy you are, you could figure that out in a day. Like, it's not rocket science, but I guess if you're not tech savvy, maybe it is a little bit, it's hard, but you really are gonna have to know how to store your Bitcoin if you decide to invest in it. But yeah, those are the main cons for me. That's why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin. Now let's talk about my Roth. A Roth IRA is one of the best ways to build wealth over time. So if you don't know what a Roth is, basically you put money in your Roth and you cannot take it out until you're 59 and a half years old. But when you do take it out, it is completely tax-free. So let's say you make $1 million in your Roth, which, by the way, that sounds like a lot, but it's very possible. When you're 59 and a half, you can take out all that money tax-free. In a traditional account, you take out $1 million, the government's gonna swipe 300K from that right off the jump, at least, maybe even 400K, 500K, depending on if you live in California. So it's a game changer for building wealth because it does not get taxed. The cons are obviously you have to have it in there long term, but I'm a long-term investor guy anyway. I'm not thinking about these short-term trades typically, sometimes, but typically no. So if you think long-term, it's definitely worth it and a great way to build wealth. Also, I'm a big believer in delayed gratification. I think this is a great thing. I think most things that are worth it in life take a while. They're a process. It's not something that happens overnight. So when you apply that same thinking towards a Roth, it definitely makes sense. And my altcoins, we kind of already went over that on what I hold and why. Lastly, my individual stocks at the moment are just Lemonade. I hold like 2 to 3 grand worth of a Lemonade stock. And I'm pretty bullish on what they're doing in the insurance space using AI and stuff, especially with their pet insurance. So that's really why. I can't really say much besides that. It's kind of something that I've held for a while, so I kind of just have it there. And then the cash, we talked about why I hold the cash already. And the cash is not in like any special type of account, like a high yield savings account or anything like that. It's not anything like that. It's just sitting in a regular bank account because I don't park my cash for a long time. I kind of just put it there and wait for red days, which maybe I should have it in like a high yield savings account so it could at least earn stuff while it's sitting there, but I personally don't. Now let's talk about mistakes that I have made, because boy, I have made some damn mistakes. So the biggest mistake right off the jump that I'm gonna tell you about is when I started dabbling into options trading and even day trading options daily for a couple months while I was in the United States Navy, and I lost a shit ton of money. So backstory about me real quick, I'm gonna keep this brief, but I started working at 16. In high school, I was a sophomore, I got a job. By the time I was 19 years old and I left to the military, I already had about 30 grand to my name because I was working Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekend as well, and I didn't have any bills. My car I bought was super cheap. It was like $5,000 for some old hoopty Toyota that I still drive to this day. And I was living at home. I was a high schooler. All my money was going to fast food. That was it. And everything else was getting saved. So I went to the military with 30 grand. COVID happened around this time. So I started investing. And if you invested during COVID, you know that everything was dirt cheap. So it really didn't. You could be blindfolded and just pick random stocks. You were going to make money because everything was at all-time lows, basically. Even big name stocks, Disney, Apple, Tesla, were dirt cheap. So you could just buy them. And a year later, when the market bounced back, when they turned those money printers on, you made a crap ton of money. So I thought, oh my God, I'm a trader now. I know what I'm doing. I can invest. So when the market started to stabilize, I tried options. And if you don't know what options are, it's basically trading stocks at like 100 times X. You're buying contracts worth 100 shares of the stock. So you could make a lot of money with options, but you could also lose a lot of money super fast. So during this time, I made a few good option trades. I just got lucky with Tesla. And over time, I started going heavier and heavier, dropping $3,000 in a day on an option contract, $4,000. And I started losing money. And before I knew it, I took my $35,000 account in Robinhood and I burned that thing all the way down to $12,000. So I lost about $22,000, and this was only in the span of maybe 4 months. I mean, it was nuts. It was bad. And after that, when I saw my last $12,000 in there, I kind of stopped trading, stopped investing for probably a year and a half straight. And I kind of just started realizing, what am I doing here? I learned like what actually is investing. What does that mean? How to do it correctly. I never even tried learning the options game. I was just like, I'm done with that. Let me just learn how to invest. Started learning about Bitcoin. And that's kind of how I got on this journey. And that's the journey that I stuck with now. Just long-term investing, sometimes high risk, high reward, sometimes medium risk. But I've always kind of been on like an offensive mode, but options was just too much for me. It was like, you could make a lot of money, obviously, but the way you can lose that money so fast, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. So when you go from options to regular stock trading, it's kind of like even high risk plays to an option trader, you're just like, yeah, this is a safe bet. And that's kind of how I've played my game since then, and I've made good money. I've grew my portfolio a lot since then. And obviously my portfolio is not perfect. A lot of people are gonna hate on it, talk about why it's terrible. Maybe I'm overly exposed in Bitcoin, whatever people think. But this is my personal story. This is what I'm doing with my money. And continuing forward, my plan basically is to max out my Roth every single year and basically put everything else into Bitcoin mainly, but also play around with some individual stocks, mainly because I love investing. I love to like research a company, buy it, see what it does over the span of a year and a half. And that's really my strategy from now on. Max out the Roth, everything else goes into Bitcoin, and a little bit will go into some individual stocks outside of the Roth. That's my portfolio, guys. Comment down below. What do you guys think? What would you do differently? What do you think I'm, not doing correctly? Or what do you agree with me on? And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I would love to see, what is your guys' portfolio? Comment down below. And if you guys have any questions, comment, concerns, drop them down. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.